Welcome my fellow Weeaboos and Wick fans. In this video I will be ranking all of the major characters in John Wick in terms of how deadly a fighter they are. I will mainly be taking into consideration how skilled they are in close combat, as that is the easiest way to rank them, but all of the characters' skills and abilities will be taken into consideration. Each tier represents fighters on roughly the same level, with the ones on the left being the ones I think have a slightly higher chance at victory. Now let's get this list started, shall we?
Yeah.
The Trump tier is for characters who don't have much, if any, combat feats and mainly rely on others to fight their battles. These are the people Wick would just quickly mow through like fodder. Iosif Tarasov is starting off my list just like how he started off the events of this entire franchise after he killed John Wick's dog. Avi was basically Iosif's father's yes man and was almost as pathetic as him. The Bowery King is in charge of a vast network of assassins posing as homeless people, but he himself never really showed off any combat skills, so he lands in this tier. Barada shot a dog, but ended up getting his balls chewed off. Winston isn't much for combat, but he did manage to shoot Jonathan off a rooftop. The Marquis Vincent de Gramont shot Sharon and was able to stab the hand of Mr. Nobody, but didn't show any combat ability outside of that. He chose Kane to fight his life or death duel for him, which shows he believed himself to be inferior to him. Santino D'Antonio has a gun to defend himself with and used a grenade launcher to destroy John Wick's house. The low assassin tier is for fighters that can give Wick some trouble, but they end up going down pretty quickly. Harry was killed by Miss Perkins. This spot represents most of the nameless assassin goons that were after Wick's life. The homeless assassins of the soup kitchen use their hidden identities to quickly kill unsuspecting enemies. The violin assassin was able to give John some trouble, but got her neck snapped by him. The sumo assassin gave Wick a similar amount of trouble, but his girth made him a bit more of a threat. The two sumo guards at the Osaka hotel would also probably be around here. The ninja assassins of John Wick 3 were shown to be above the homeless assassins and gave Wick some trouble with their martial arts skills. The two pictured in the tier list are the ones who fought John on the first floor of the final showdown area in the Continental in the third film. Sharon was able to take out multiple heavily armored men from the table's hit squad using armor-piercing buckshot. The mid-assassin tier is for characters skilled enough to give Jonathan a decent fight that actually takes some time. Marcus is a skilled sniper, but when it comes to close quarters combat, he was overpowered by Vigo and his gang when they ambushed him in his home. He was able to fight back and kill some of them after being stabbed in the leg, but he was shot by Perkins and finished off by Vigo. Vigo Tarasov gave John a surprisingly good fight and even impaled him with a knife, though John seemingly pulled that knife into himself so he could break Vigo's arm. Interesting strategy. Regardless, that means Vigo forced John to a point where he thought that was necessary. Either that or John's a glutton for punishment. Ares was Santino's head bodyguard and was able to give Wick a decent fight. She managed to land a stab on John, but her small size caused her to get overpowered and killed. Ernest was a giant who used his size and strength to his advantage. He managed to forcefully stab John, unlike Vigo, but despite his size, he was still defeated by Wick only armed with a book. The two ninjas known simply as the Shinobi were Zero's top ninja students, and John fought them on a floor above the last two ninja assassins I mentioned, almost as if to signify they were a tier above them. They put up a better fight against Wick and even had him at knife point, but chose to let him get back up. As a team I would say they go a tier up, but individually they would go in this tier. Perkins gave Wick a run for his money, but he was already severely injured and caught off guard in his hotel room. Despite these handicaps, he still soundly defeated her. The high assassin tier is for characters that can give John a tough fight and can even get the better of him in some scenarios. Killa Harkin is surprisingly nimble for his size and was able to best John in hand-to-hand combat even after being shot in the ass. He lost to John in round 2 of their fight and was killed in round 3. In terms of pure hand-to-hand combat, he would probably be higher, but his lack of weaponry and constant need for an inhaler keeps him here. The tracker, Mr. Nobody, can take out his targets from afar, get up close and personal, or just sick his attack dog on them. He was able to give Jonathan a good fight, but ended up losing. Akira was able to gracefully and brutally take down a large number of men attacking her father's hotel. She ended up getting shot in the encounter, and later demonstrates that she understood she couldn't beat Kane at that moment, though it seems she'll be going after him in the future, and maybe a fully healthy future Akira will be higher than this spot. Her father, Koji Shimizu, was also able to take out a bunch of the forces attacking his hotel and go head-to-head against their leader, Chidi. He also fights Kane while injured, but this ends up being his last fight. Kirill was Vigo's head of security and defeated John Wick in their first fight, though John was stunned after being shot a couple times in his bulletproof vest. He put up a good fight again in their final fight, but John had handcuffs on the whole time, and ended up strangling Kirill to death with them. GD was the Marquis' second in command. He killed a large amount of the Osaka Hotel's forces and temporarily fought Koji to a standstill. He fought John multiple times, showing off his strength by throwing him around. He's also pretty durable, being relatively uninjured after being hit by a car, and he has a bulletproof suit like John. The elite assassin tier is for the top hitmen of the verse, who are on the level of John Wick himself. Sophia is essentially the female John Wick, taking out just about as many people as him when they were fighting a massive group of enemies together. She has 2 well-trained attack dogs that wear bulletproof vests that can aid her. She never directly fights John like the other members on this tier, so I kept her at the bottom since she can't properly be scaled to them. Cassian was able to have an extended fight with John on 2 occasions, stabbing him both times, but losing in the second fight. Zero, the John Wick fanboy, gave the man himself a long and hard fight, getting the better of him at first and looking as if he could have killed him at times if he wanted to. But as Zero himself admitted, John was already exhausted and in pain before the fight began. Kane, despite being blind, was one of the deadliest, if not the deadliest character in the franchise, using his other basically superhuman senses to make up for his lack of sight. He defeated both Koji and Chidi relatively quickly, justifying him being a tier over them. He seemed to be John's toughest opponent, ending up in the more advantageous position in their first fight before Mr. Nobody interfered, and won their final duel, though John didn't fire his last shot on purpose. The man, the myth, the Baba Yaga, John Wick is at the top of the tier list. He may not have won every single fight he's been in, but nobody can win all of the time, except me, and John has killed more people than anyone else on this list. He is essentially a one-man army, and all of the fights he did end up taking in Ellen were after he just killed about 100 men, got stabbed, shot, hit by a car, fell out of a multi-story building, or all of the above, some of them multiple times. John Wick most definitely has superhuman durability, as well as strength, skill, and luck. He also has the power of being the main character, and that is why he's at the top of this list. We have come to a close on this video, and seemingly of John Wick's story, though it seems there's some future spin-offs in the works, so when they come out, I'll update this list. If you don't want to miss any of it or any of my other amazing projects, subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell. If you enjoyed this video, please take aim carefully and hit that like button and leave a comment. You guys did enjoy the video, right?
Yeah.